Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I was gonna do a second, maybe even a third part to this sort of thing about why I believe the XKs are self-deluding in a way. I have this sort of belief that continuing on my last part is that maybe they have weak wills or weak whatever it is, and that they have been told to believe that gays are bad or sick and blah blah blah, they do drugs or promiscuous and catch AIDS and blah 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 blah, and then they're worried that they're gonna do that themselves. And so rather than looking around that and realizing that not everybody does that, not every gay guy that I know of is all stereotypically femish in a way, or and then don't really sleep around or anything. I know some of them that are masculine to the point where you could even tell they were gay. And then we have some of them that I know that have been with their significant others for a couple of years, maybe even a decade, or even 2 decades, or even longer than that, And then there are some that I know that actually live healthy, productive, and clean lives. And that kind of basically defeats the whole little stereotype about that. And I think one of the weirdest things that came in my head around talking about this sort of issue is that some people just have a hard time trying to accept the fact that there are just people that are different. And I don't know whether if it's just simply the willful ignorance is one cause, or if it's just something else. And as I kind of said a lot on my video blogs and videos on here, is that not everybody is gonna understand Asperger's syndrome, and I probably don't expect everybody to understand that, and then there's just some people who is just blindly think it's a fake disease when it's just really out of their own ignorance, and that they just don't really know any better, And then the fact that it took maybe about 40 or 50 years for it to actually appear on the books, and that Hans Asperger's was the one who kind of discovered it, or actually made assumptions or patterns of people like me who have Asperger's, and as I can tell from on YouTube, that I'm not the only person with Asperger's that's on YouTube, and then I'm not the only one who has Asperger's and who's also gay or lesbian, transgendered, bisexual, as far as that goes. And then it kind of goes to another thing where people's disabilities and sexual orientation and gender expression is completely different to that. And one of the things I kind of remember from joining Glade back in '03 when I was going to Northlake in Irving, that there's this one friend, I keep forgetting her name, but she's bi, but she also has dyslexia. And then there were a couple of other people that I've known on there that have all sorts of things, and then it was one of the things that I should probably put on another video blog about the time when I came back here in '06, that some of my friends who were disabled, I think, might have had a hard time trying to understand that I'm gay, and although I probably had to explain it a little bit in more simpler terms, like saying that I just like guys instead, or blah 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 blah, and just to chop it down even further and even further and even further and even further, but I'm not going to really expect everybody to understand both those sort of things. And then I'm not going to really expect everybody to understand, like, my eye. I mean, even though I probably had to explain it so many times about how if people look at me directly and then they would say, like, oh, what happened to your eye, and then I had to go around and explain to people about, like, my eye, and this just sort of happened, I think maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I think, and with my dad having a severe melanoma on his ear that they had to remove part of his ear, and so some people will say that to Dad, like, what happened to your ear? And then Dad would have to explain that about the melanoma and then having the surgery to remove that part of the ear right here, and then I also have to explain other things, but then I realize I think I probably have to, because there's just some people that just probably are not going to really get it the first time around, but then, although once I probably explained to it, and then once I probably explained to the Asperger's, and it's almost like nothing ever really happened, like I'm, like, as if I don't have any of that anyways, because they would get used to it, or at least see past it. But then there's just some people that probably will never see past it, but who do I care?